Hey guys, welcome to today's training. We're going to be going over how to properly mark up support and resistance on your charts. So let's get started. When I start to analyze a chart, I like to start on the 4-hour time frame just to get a good idea where the trend is that we're looking for. So we're going to just go down the watch list and we're going to start with clean charts and start marking these up. So I come over here and I grab my trend line tool. I come to the 4-hour time frame. At first, I like to start on the wicks. I know there's a lot of back and forth about where to properly start your trend line, but I like to come down here and find a wick, especially on the 4-hour time frame, and I just start there and I click and drag. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find multiple touch points throughout the chart in which price comes down and touches several times. So for this one, we're just starting on odd CAD, and I'm going to drag it out right here. And so look, we've got 1 touch, 2 touch, and so we just need a minimum of 2 touches. The more the better. This is a stronger trend. So that's just on starting on the 4-hour. But what I like to do next is I like to drop down to the 1-hour so that I can fine tune my chart. So look, as we drop down to the 1-hour time frame, you can see that we've managed to start down here and hit some more touch points. Sorry, zooming, there we go. So now you can see you could take it here to try to get some more touch points right there, and that would give you a stronger idea of your current trend. I personally like to do, I would do it personally like this, but you know, because I'm a little more conservative, but you could also do it right here. What I like to do also to keep my charts nice and clean is I'll come over here and I'll grab the arrow tool, and because we're in an uptrend, I'll take the green arrows and place them throughout my chart so I can see where price has come to the trend line and rejected, just so that I know for sure that I have my multiple touch points. So there's our first one, okay? And so we have all those locked in, so let's go to our next one. We've got odd JPY here. We'll go back to the 4-hour time frame. I'm going to go ahead and take my trend line. I'm going to set it here at the low, and I'm just going to drag out. And we've got 1 touch point, 2 touch points, 3 touch points. So I would consider this a valid trend line at the moment. And then we're going to zoom down to the hour time frame, and then you can, as you can see, once we get down to the hour time frame, you can see all the touch points there. So then I'll take my arrows, place it right there. We've got another touch point here in which price rejected, and we've got another touch point right here in which price rejected, and so on. So let's move on to the next one. So we'll go to odd NZD, and we've got our little 4-hour. We'll come back here to the 4-hour. So you can tell most of the odd pairs right now are currently in an uptrend, so that's also helpful. So I'll go ahead and mark that there. When I see charts, though, that are very kind of choppy like this, I'm not a big fan of this, so I personally probably would stay away from this pair, but you can do what you want. But I do at least like to go through and practice my markups. So even if I'm not going to trade that pair, I like to just mark up the charts just so I can see at a later time frame, or if I come back, I can see was this a valid trend line at the time. So we're just going to work our way through each pair, and we're coming here, draw that, and take our arrow. We'll drop down to the 1 hour time frame. So you see this is a strong area of rejection. Some rejection right there. Possibly came close right there, so we know we're getting, as we get close to the trend line, you know, right now we're looking, this pair is in an uptrend. So we're only going to be looking for buys on this uptrend. There's no point to try to fight the trend and take sells. If you really want to dig deep into your charts and you like to have them, you know, marked up, you could see that on the 1-hour time frame, we started in our uptrend and we pulled down in our downtrend here. So you could mark that up just to keep practicing on your markups. So we've got 1 touch point, 2 touch points, 3 touch points, and 4 touch points. So you see that on the 1 hour time frame, odd USD was actually in a downtrend within the uptrend. So this was our impulse, our correction, and then we rejected from here. As you can see, we broke the trend and continue to move higher. So that's one thing you can always do. What I do find though is the more cluttered your charts are, the more cluttered your mind when trading. We want to keep it very simple. If your charts have a million lines on them, a bunch of zones, all sorts of markups and writings, you start to get very confused and you're not entirely sure what you're looking at. So there's one for odd USD. So let's go 4 hour on CADJPY. So right here, here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Right now, on the 4 hour time frame, really what I'm seeing is a lot of consolidation. So this is more of a consolidation at the moment. Yes, we did have, if you really, really wanted to, you could have marked this as an uptrend. Because of where this is, I don't know if I necessarily would have traded that. If you drop down to the 1 hour, you can see it was an uptrend within the 1 hour time frame. And then you could also have done this where you draw your downtrend. But again, like I said, it just depends what time frame you're trading. So if you're willing to trade within this channel and you're looking for sell, buy, then that's fine. But for the purposes of this training, we're just going over marking up trends. And if I was just looking for an easy trend to mark up, I would not have probably marked up this right here. Now, what I would have done, if we had seen this, several weeks ago, I would have marked this as a strong downtrend. So you see all these touches we're getting here, and so that way we've got a nice resistance here in which we're looking for sells because we are currently in a downtrend. So I would have done this, would have marked that up right there, would have taken this arrow, rejection, rejection, and then as we gap down here, it's kind of got away from us. So every time what we're doing is looking for it to pull into resistance, and then we sell. Pull into resistance. Here's another one right here, and sell. So that's what happens within our downtrend. And then as we chop along right here, we're too far away from the trend line, so we're not going to be taking any sells because we'll just be paying premiums too far away from that. We want to pay the cheapest price possible on the sell. So we would stay away from that. So let's just continue to work our way down. So as you can see, a EURAUD right here. With this, these are kind of tricky. So you could start here, and you could draw this, and it would be pretty valid. You could also have come here and drawn this because that's more in the intermediate time frames, or more in line right here. But I personally like to keep them right here and draw the trend lines down. So go there, you can mark that up for the sell. Let's grab our arrow again. There's another sell. And I like to lock these in. If we want to drop down to the 1 hour time frame, we can see that this right here obviously was a downtrend. We're still trending down. But to me, what happens is if you're drawing your trend line right here, you're leaving yourself exposed to all this up here. Doesn't mean that this is wrong. It just means that for me personally, I'm probably not going to take trades unless we would have come back up here in price. But instead, we've just continued to move further down. Every time price pulls into our resistance, we'll go ahead and have a little arrow, and so we're looking for sell opportunities. Let's move on next to EURAUD, and here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So overall, you can see that we're in a downtrend. So you could have started on the 4 hour, and we're looking for the most touches, right? So like again, I said, it's up to you. You can start at the wicks or you can start at the bodies. That's always been it's kind of whatever your preference is. Just be aware of the wicks is what I would recommend. You need to be very aware when you're placing your stop losses. But what I would do is, again, is draw that, come in here, grab my arrows. You can see this was a rejection. This was a rejection. Came into here, and what do? We tapped the line, and we dropped. So you could come back to the 1 hour time frame, and as you can see, we're just same thing. So see, this is where when I would have dropped down to the 1 hour time frame, is I would have brought this up here, and then I would have brought this here on the 1 hour time frame, and then you can see, hopefully it's a little cluttered, but you can see every time price pulls into this area, we reject, pulls in, reject, pulls in, reject, came close, rejected. So we pulled in here, we're selling off currently. This is a live chart as of today, April 13th. So just very, very simple. The reason I started the 4 hour, and here's another trick that I've actually learned. When I start on the 4 hour, and I do draw it at the wicks, if you were to draw it at the wicks, what I found is when you drop down to the 1 hour, if you come here, you see the full body candle has come up and touched. So yes, you may not have gotten as many sell opportunities through this, but if you took from wick to wick, so this was a wick on the 4 hour, this is a wick on the 4 hour, you could have seen that as price pulled up into this area, right here, where the arrow is, that you could have taken your trade, you could have taken your sell opportunity right here as it pulled down. You could have set your stop loss just slightly above the resistance line, and you'd still be in this trade. You wouldn't even have gotten close to stop out. This is a 3.5 to 1 trade if you really wanted to. And as you drop down into the lower time frames, you could see we came up here, and if you want to take a tighter entry, the lower the time frame, the tighter the entry. So you could have risked something where we pulled up into here. You could have risked, 30 pips, 50 pips, something like that on this pair. Just put the stop loss above the high, and you're still in this trade. And as you drop down per time frame, your risk to reward is going to get better and better. And so for this trade, if you would have taken it off just the rejection off resistance, it's a 10 to 1 trade. Just where price currently is. Yeah, just where price currently is. This is a 10 to 1 trade. Yeah, this is more for swing trading, so you would be in it longer. But even if you took this trade off rejection here, it's a lower risk opportunity. And we push down. Let's just say you were just doing it over a short period of time. I mean, you weren't even in this for a full day. I don't know why I did that. You weren't even in this for a full day, and you caught 242 pips off of 50 pip stop loss. So a 5 to 1 trade. So let's keep on working our way down the charts. That was the 8 hour. So here. So we 4 hour time frame for Euro GBP. I personally, like I said, start here at the wicks. So I'm just going to draw it from the wicks. If I wanted to keep it a little tighter, I could do that. I think I'm just going to keep it right there, wick to wick. Again, take my arrows, and then put your arrows so you can see where the rejection is. See prices and areas in which prices pulled at and or near our resistance line and continue to move down. And then you can see what happened right there. So we came up pretty much into this area, and we're selling off at the current moment. So you can see it's an obvious downtrend. As you can see, if you like to just practice marking up support and resistance, you would come into here and you would have seen that Euro GBP had just come out of a very, very strong uptrend, and you would have just done the opposite. So it just depends if you want to, like I said, I like to keep my charts clean. This one, you can see rejection. So touch point. Look at all these touches right here along this line. Just moved on up. Touch the line, moved on up. So just easy ways to mark up your charts. Go through your entire list of Forex pairs that we gave you on the previous video on building a watch list and trading view, and just clear all your charts, and then you're just going to come through and you're going to mark them up. Here's a perfect example of being careful with all this choppiness. But we are on the 4 hour time frame, so if you really were looking to trade EURAUD, you could have marked that up possibly, or if you wanted to get even more touches, you could have marked that up, and you would have dropped to the 1 hour time frame. We had a break and retest of the trend line, which we'll be covering in another video, and then you could have tightened up everything right here, and you would have seen that this was going to be a pretty obvious sell. So we stayed here, and then once we broke the trend line, then we knew there's a possibility that there's going to be a trend change. So, hope this video helps everybody. Just clear your charts, practice this. There's no harm, no foul in continuously going through the time frames of your charts and trying to find support and resistance so that you can get a really sharp eye for marking that up. So, thanks for tuning into this training, and we'll see you on the next one.